Hola Year 7 and welcome to Lesson 8 of the second half term for summer. And we're looking at the topic of querer ir al cine, so making invitations to places about the town. And here's a list of equipment you need for today's lesson. You will need the exercise book that the school gave you, a pen, a highlighter or a different coloured pen, your knowledge organiser from Module 6, and this has a link on class charts, and also wordreference.com. Again, this is linked on class charts and can be opened in a separate window or web browser. Pause to get that ready now. Please remember to email me if you have any questions about the activities in today's lesson, and here's my email address. Please also remember to upload a photo or copy of your work, your reading comprehension and translation for the main activities, showing your great work throughout the lesson. So please upload those onto class charts at the end of the lesson, but certainly within 2 days after the lesson, so I can check your work and I can give you an achievement point. Gracias, chicos. Copia la fecha, lunes el 22 de junio, and don't forget, because it's 22, you need to put your voice up on the O sound, and therefore it's got an accent. And dos on its own doesn't, but 22 does. Titulo, ¿Quieres ir al cine? Would you like to go to the cinema? So write down the date and title and underline them, and then write down your objective, objetivo, to learn and use the verb querer, to want, for invitations into town. Pause to do that now and play to go to the do now activity. Okay, your doing activity should take about 5 minutes. You just need to look at the questions and fill in the gaps with either al or ala. You don't need to write out the sentences, just write ala for the feminine places and al for the masculine places. Let's do the first one together. ¿Quieres ir mezquita? So, we see that mezquita ends in an A here, which means that it's feminine, so we're going to add ala. ¿Quieres ir a la mezquita? Okay, so pause to do that now and press play to get the answers. Okay, now let's check your answers. So we did the first one together, ¿Quieres ir a la mezquita? And we said it's ala because mezquita ends in an A. Dos, ¿Quieres ir al estadio? And we know it's al estadio because estadio ends in an O, which makes it masculine. So it's al. ¿Quieres ir supermercado? Al supermercado. Again, we've got the O on the end here. Cuatro, ¿Quieres ir al museo? These are all regular because the noun ends in an O. It's going to be al. ¿Quieres ir a la piscina? Okay, there we go. It ends in A, so it's feminine. ¿Quieres ir al centro comercial? The O tells us it's masculine. And ¿Quieres ir al parque? Now, parque has an E at the end in the masculine, and you just have to learn it as a masculine noun. Muy bien, chicos. I'm now going to pass you to Miss Clinton, and she's going to teach you the rest of the lesson. Don't forget to upload your work for an achievement point. Gracias. Adios.
Okay, Year 7, hello and welcome to your next Spanish lesson. So we've got another sentence builder here. We're going to be practicing the pronunciation of the verb querer, which is a bit tricky. It means to want. So, repeat the verb or the phrase after me, please. Quiero ir. Quiero ir. ¿Quieres ir? ¿Quieres ir? Mi hermano quiere ir. Mi hermano quiere ir. Mis amigos y yo queremos ir. Mis amigos y yo queremos ir. ¿Queréis ir? ¿Queréis ir? Mis padres quieren ir. Mis padres quieren ir. Muy bien. Okay, we're now going to do some dictations. So I'm going to say a phrase aloud in Spanish. What I'd like you to do, when I've repeated the phrase 2 times, you can pause the video and then you're going to write down the sentence I have said in Spanish. So we've done these lots. Let's get going with the first one. Remember, I'll repeat the phrase 2 times. You're then to pause your video to write it down in Spanish. ¿Quieres ir al cine? ¿Quieres ir al cine? Pause your video now to write that down, please, in Spanish. Okay, so you should have written down ¿Quieres ir al cine? You want to go to the cinema. If, however, you remember like last lesson, we had this phrase, but as a question. So if you put an upside down question mark at the beginning and then a normal question mark at the end, you would make it a question. And therefore, do you want to go to the cinema? Okay, let's try another one. Mis amigos y yo queremos ir al centro comercial. Mis amigos y yo queremos ir al centro comercial. Pause your video to write that down, please. Okay, so you should have written mis amigos y yo queremos ir al centro comercial. And please make sure you've only got one M in your comercial. Remember, in English it's 2, in Spanish just the 1. And another one. Quiero ir a la playa. Quiero ir a la playa. Pause your video now to write that down. So you should have written, quiero ir a la playa. I want to go to the beach. Muy bien, Isabel. Let's have another go now. Make it a bit more difficult. I will now say the sentence in English. You will then pause your video and write down the sentence in Spanish. Okay? So I'll say it in English and then you're going to pause your video to write down that same sentence but in Spanish. So let's have a go at the first one. My parents want to go to the ball ring. My parents want to go to the ball ring. Pause your video to write that down in Spanish. So you should have written, mis padres quieren ir a la plaza de toros. Muy bien. And let's have another go. My brother wants to go to the sports centre. My brother wants to go to the sports centre. Pause your video now to write that down in Spanish. So you should have written, mi hermano quiere ir al polideportivo. And really double check here, so when you're going through these, your spelling of your verb, okay? Because it is quite tricky, this verb of spelling. And one more. I want to go to the bus station. I want to go to the bus station. Pause your video now to write that down in Spanish. So you should have written, quiero ir a la estación de autobuses. And you should have an accent on your O for estación. Excelente, year 7. So year 7, we're now going to focus on the grammar, so looking at the verb querer, to want. So as always, listen to the explanation, then pause your video to copy everything down. So querer, we know, is an irregular verb, or we call it a stem changing verb, and that's because the stem changes as we'll later see when we come to conjugating it. So it always is normally followed by an infinitive. So for example, if you look at the two sentences beneath, quiero ir a la piscina. I want to go to the swimming pool. Similarly, of course, if someone else is wanting to go somewhere, then they all need to change the verb. So, quiere ir al polideportivo. He wants to go to the sports centre. So let's have a look at the conjugations. So, I want, quiero. Now here, this is what we mean by the stem changing bit. Because ordinarily, remember when we're conjugating, what we want to do is we take our infinitive, for example we have querer, and we would chop off the ending before adding our AR, ER or IR endings. However, you'll notice here there's an extra I. So when you come to writing this down yourselves, I'd like you to highlight your irregular stem as I have done in red. So you want quieres, again you'll notice the irregular stem with I. He, she ones, again same irregular stem bit there with the I. Quiere. If you want to say we want, however, you'll notice it's back to being regular verb. There's no I in your stem there. You plural want, queréis. Normal regular stem again for the vosotras. Just remember you'll need to include your accent on your E there. And they want quieren. Again, we've gone back to being irregular, having that I there in the stem. So pause your video now to copy everything down and remember to highlight the irregular stem, the stem changing part of the verb querer. Pause your video now. Okay, we're now going to see how well you've learned that verb then and the spelling of it. What I'd like you to do is fill in the gaps below with the correct form of the verb querer, to want. Remember, you don't need to write the whole sentence, just what's missing. So if we look at the first one together, we've got a blank, and then we've got ir al estadio. You know that you want to write in that gap in brackets. There we go, we want. Sometimes you'll notice there are no brackets, and that's because the subject pronoun, the person who is we're talking about, is at the beginning of the sentence. So keep an eye out for those, so number 2 and 3, for example. So let's do number 1, ir al estadio, and you want to write we want. So you should have chosen queremos. Let's have a go at numbers 2 to 6 now by yourselves. Pause your video to do this. So here are your answers. Number 2, you should have written quiere. Mi madre quiere ir al supermercado. Remember, you wanted the third person singular form here because it was your mum you were talking about. So my mum wants to go to the supermarket. Number 3, you should have written quieren, because you're referring to your brothers. My brothers don't want to go to the museum. Mis hermanos no quieren ir al museo. So here a negative sentence, and you'll note then that the no goes before the main verb of querer. Number 4, queréis ir a la piscina. So here you wanted to give the you plural form, the vosotras form, and you should have added an accent to your E. So do you all want to go to the cinema? Number 5, quieres, you should have written ir al centro comercial. You should have written, obviously there's a to form, i.e. the you singular form here. And there's a question. And lastly, for number 6, you should have written quiero, your singular form, I want to go to the park. Pause your video now if you need to make any changes. Okay, year 7, so we've got a reading text here below. I'd like you to read through by yourselves. You're then going to answer the following 5 questions. So the questions in English, you will need to respond in English. I've also, just because I've been very kind, given you some words there up on the right hand side for some help if you need any extra help with vocabulary there. So pause your video now, have a read through and answer the questions in English please. Numbers 1 to 5 in your books. Okay, Okay, let's go through your answers. So, what does Christopher think of waitress and why? And then notice that I have also highlighted in red the where you need to be looking in the reading text above. So, here are your answers. And number 1, he loves it because the food is high quality. So here it says, porque la comida es de buena calidad. So of course, la comida being food and buena calidad meaning high quality. Number 2, you should have written there are too many people. And you were looking here in the text. Hay demasiada gente. Demasiado is a nice qualifier there to say how much. It means too much of something or too many. Number 3, you should have written she loves it because it is big and quiet. So here she says, le encanta, French part, porque es grande, so big and tranquilo. So you could have translated that also as peaceful. That would be fine as well. And number 4, you should have written no because it is boring. She says, no quiero ir a la piscina porque es aburrida. And finally, number 5, you should have written no. Because actually, is Amelia's opinion of the pool only negative? No, well, she says it's boring, but then she uses this lovely connective here, sin embargo, however. So that tells us she's now going to change tract. So she'll change and say something positive now, which she says is very modern, muy moderna. So pause your video if you need to make any changes now. So, on to your last activity, I'd like you now to translate the sentences below. Please write both the Spanish and the English. Pause your video now to do this. Okay, so let's go through the answers. So, do you want to go to the beach? ¿Quieres ir a la playa? And hopefully you remembered your spelling of quieres, and you use the correct conjugation. So, the you singular. We want to go to the cinema. Queremos ir al cine. So you needed the nosotros form there. Remember, there's no I in the nosotros form. And they want to visit museums. I don't want to. Quieren visitar museos. No quiero. So you needed to use the third person plural, they form, with it back with the I there. And for, you also have a second conjugation there, the yo form, first person singular, no quiero. So pause the video now if you need to make any changes. So if you have any time left over for this lesson, Year 7, please can you learn box 1 from your Grammage Knowledge Organiser, which is learning the verb querer that we have looked at today. So thank you very much from me, Year 7. Thank you for all your hard work, and please remember to upload a picture of your reading comprehension and translations, so the last 2 activities, onto class charts. Muchas gracias y hasta luego.